Welcome, everyone, to the True Blue Podcast. I am your host, Zachary Succardi. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Podcast True Blue. Today is March 5th. It's 2020. This is episode 10, session 10. I made it to 10 motherfucking episodes, and I'm really excited. Double digits. We're in the double digits. Pretty cool. Really a cool thing for me. Just to keep doing it and having a great time doing the podcast and just seeing where it grows. We're at double digits now, everybody. We're at double digits. So really happy to be here. It's Thursday night. I've been moving around the nights I've been recording. Just to try something different. Plus, last night I was so fucking tired. I went and I swam yesterday, and then I just did a couple of basic chores, and then, made dinner, walked my dog, but I was so tired. And then when I went to bed, I really couldn't sleep. And then, so I'm not smoking weed during the week, Monday through Thursday, and my dreams are way crazy, like way more vivid. Not like nightmarish or bad, but just weird. And then some have been a little unsettling, but overall pretty cool. Just one of the things that I've noticed, definitely when I don't smoke cannabis, is my dreams are crazy, like just crazy vivid. The pool of people and experiences and randomness that it pulls from is much wider when I'm not smoking. So but today's good. Let's see, I went to work. I had I ate good today, and when I say that, I just mean I feel good about my diet and my food plan and all that. And it's really not a diet or a food plan. Well, it's more of a food plan than a diet, because I'm not super strict. I still enjoy delicious foods on the weekend, and I'm not abstaining really from anything. Other than, this is for Lent, but pizza and soda, which, let me tell you, it's been sort of kind of a challenge, especially for soda. I love drinking soda when I go out to eat. I never drink it at home just to have a soda. It's always water. And when I'm usually just cooking any of the food that I make, it's always water. I don't ever drink soda. But when I go out, I really enjoy it. And I enjoy diet soda. And really the reason why is when I used to live in New Jersey as a kid, my grandma would do the grocery shopping. We used to live with our grandmother. She didn't live with us. We lived with her. She's so fucking awesome. Anyway, she would go grocery shopping, and she accidentally would buy Diet Coke instead of regular Coke, thinking it was regular Coke. So that's how it was sort of introduced into our household. And I really enjoyed it. I just really did. Not as sugary. Definitely. Still carbonated, so you still feel that heavy, bloated feeling. But definitely kind of a funny, interesting way of how I started drinking diet soda. But yeah, so I'm not doing that anymore, at least until Easter. And yeah, it's like a part of the meal for me. So it's almost like I'm not having my French fries anymore. I'm not having my potato chips. I'm not having my extra sauce on my pizza. So it's like a part of the meal that I'm no longer having, but it's a liquid. And I've been able to just drink water. I went out and I had this place called Grass Burger, and it's grass-fed meat, and it was pretty good. And I had water with it, and it's weird for my brain. I don't know if anyone's ever. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, where when you change something up in your routine or lifestyle, you're able to do it, but you can tell your brain is it's not clicking on there's it's there's something that's not being met, but you're okay and you move on, and it's kind of nice. And you know what? I have to be honest. Drinking water over drinking soda or any other liquid, I feel like my meals, I don't know. I guess I'm savoring them a little bit more. There's a little bit more involved with the flavor. I'm doing a little bit of mindful eating, putting down my fork, chewing slow, sort of enjoying my meal. So just kind of an interesting takeaway. But today, here we're Thursday, March 5th. I didn't go to the gym today, but I went grocery shopping. I was in dire need of a lot of things, from my breakfast to my dinner, so I picked up a bunch of stuff. And they had a sale at Sprouts. That's the name of the grocery store here, called Sprouts. What a fucking horrible name. It used to be called Sunflower Market. Sunflower Market versus Sprouts. And for me, I like to call it Bloups because it's such a blah kind of a word. So I call it Bloup. But yeah, so I went there and they had a sale on everything frozen was 20%. So I got some like plant-based fucking meat turkey burger thing. And then I got some chicken and some salmon. Got some sushi. Excuse me. So yeah, looking forward to, changing it up a little bit during the week. Mixing it up with my proteins. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, so tomorrow's Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. So I gave up smoking marijuana for Lent, but only during Monday through Thursday. And it's been kind of cool. I haven't really been like, oh, I got to smoke. Oh my God, I got to get high, which is a really good feeling. So like, I'm not like feeling physically like, drawn to it or the habit of it. I mean, there are a couple moments where I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to smoke right now, but it's cool not to, because it allows me to focus on God, allows me to focus on myself. But last weekend when I did smoke, my God, I didn't do a thing. I smoked and I stared at a wall. And you know what? I don't know if I got like that. I don't know if I like got that stoned in the sense of like all I could do is stare at a wall. And maybe I was just lazy and happy to be like at the weekend. But this weekend when I smoke, I'm hoping to do a little bit more than just stare at a wall. But I'm also kind of excited because I'm saving on cannabis. I would smoke through X amount of grams, a week or whatever. And with this, I'm able to conserve. And I have probably 7-8 grams still left. So that's pretty cool. And then I cleaned out my bong. So I won a bong. There's a dispensary here in town called High Desert Relief. Shout out to them. And you have to every time you go, you earn points based on, how much you spend, this and that. And I earned the maximum amount of points. This was last year, so I got a bong. And it's cool. You can put ice cubes in it, and I love doing that because that way the smoke isn't as harsh. And it's kind of like a ritual. It's like I have to set it up, and then, you get a nice bowl, and it's so fucking nice. I'm looking forward to that this weekend. So hopefully I don't get too zonked, but yeah, it's going to be fun. So on this episode of the True Blue Podcast, we're going to talk about some music, some poetry. I'm going to give you my self-care tip of the week. And then just talk a little shit in between. So let's get started on the self-care tip. So a couple weeks ago, I talked about multivitamin, how I take a multivitamin. And I was going to do all of the vitamins I take in that episode, but I thought that'd be a little overkill. So I take about 7 or 8 different vitamins. So I figured I would highlight each one on a different episode. So this episode, I'm going to talk about CLA, Conjugated Linoleic Acid. Excuse me. And ultimately, that is a fatty acid typically found in beef and dairy products mostly. Found in a lot of oils too. And it's especially high in grass-fed meats and grass-fed dairy products and such. And also butter, a big stick of butter. It's also in butter. But you don't want to eat all that butter and dairy and fucking meat. It's going to totally fuck you up. So I take a supplement. I take a CLA supplement. So the supplement it's known to help reduce body fat. It boosts your immune system. It increases lean muscle mass. It also can help with reducing cholesterol levels. It's good for your heart, good for your ticker. And then it also bolsters your immune system. So I wrote this list, and the second thing I said was boost your immune system. And I wrote bolsters your immune system because I think I was excited about the word bolster. Bolster. I think that's an underused word, bolster. I'm going to try to see if I can fit that in more in my vocab. So yeah, it's a good supplement I've been taking for, I don't know, fucking A, 10, 20, 15, something like that. It's one of the staple vitamins that I take. So check it out. It's definitely something I would suggest. I think no matter really what your goal is, I think it's definitely something that you could, benefit from. And I took a picture of the CLA that I got off of Amazon, and I posted it on my story on Instagram. And a couple of my homies hit me up and was like, "Hey, what's this about?" So I thought, hey, let me talk about it on this week's podcast, and maybe shed some more light on it. And it's cool. It's CLA. It's like initials. You don't need to talk about all this other shit. I've often thought if I ever write like an album, or I may do this with poetry. It's a little different with like poetry. I think maybe more with music. I would name them after like vitamins and like minerals. Just think about milk thistle. Like that'd be a cool name for a song. Milk thistle. What the fuck? Shark cartilage. Fucking way cool. CLA. So keep an eye out for my for my demo with all these vitamins and minerals. So I thought for the poetry, I would read from my friend Tom's poetry books. His name is Tom Veldran. He's a dear friend of mine, and he is one of my biggest inspirations when it comes to writing poetry and creating anything. He's such a creative person. He's done things over the years with movies, poetry. He made music. He actually currently does these canvases. He like does them for like old school video games and sells them at these conventions. But he's also made them for like music albums, and he's given me one. I actually have a really cool Morrissey one. I believe it's from Morrissey's Interesting Drug, 12-inch, and that's probably my favorite Morrissey song. And it's such a cool like canvas art. It's huge. It's hanging up in my apartment. He actually did another one for me now that I'm looking at it, for the Punisher. The Punisher is my favorite comic book hero. I remember as a kid seeing all these comic book heroes and seeing all their special powers, and then there's this one dude with a lot of guns, and he's pissed, and he has a skull, and I found out he was in Vietnam, so I just loved it. I just fucking loved it. So he made me a really cool Punisher one. So a real creative guy, someone who I look up to, and that I love sharing my poetry with. And the two poetry books that I did do, he actually helped me. He helped me like edit it. I should say he helped me put it together. So a big inspiration there. So he had written a couple poetry books that I wanted to read a poem or two out of. So probably my favorite poem, one of my favorite poems of his, I'm going to read to you. Let me see if I can find it here. It's a real good one. He used to live in Seattle, and I visited him in Seattle when I first came out here. I took the Greyhound up there because when I first came out to New Mexico, I was unemployed. I was collecting unemployment from New Jersey, which was really plentiful. I was almost getting $1,000 every 2 fucking weeks, which is pretty fucking sweet for the year 2007. So I took a Greyhound up to Seattle. I thought, all right, I'll take a Greyhound. It'll be cool. I'll be able to see, the scenery, and I don't have a job, so there's no rush. And it was cool, but let me tell you, the Greyhound is shady as fuck. I would not suggest taking the Greyhound, okay? But it was cool for the time. So yeah, I went up there, and actually the first night I was there, we saw the Seattle Supersonics, which no longer exists. So it was pretty neat. Anyway, he moved up to Seattle, and this poem is about Seattle. It's more of, I guess, a haiku. It's very short. I had it saved here. Let me find it. Here it is. Here it goes. This is poetry by my homie Tom Veldran. Winter winds and rain. Seattle streets are busy. Your hand in my hand. Fucking awesome. Love that. Just imagine that. Let me read that again. Winter winds and rain. Seattle streets are busy. Your hand in my hand. Fucking love that. It's so beautiful. It's so concise, but it creates such a a warm image. Even though it's busy, it's cold and wet, your hand in my hand. Pretty fucking awesome. So I am going to read from that first one he wrote in 2007, and then the ones I'm going to read he wrote here in 2011. He actually he wrote me like a little something at the start of his poetry book, and he dated it. A little something about me. If you date something, especially if you put the day, the month, the day, and the year, I'm gonna keep it. There's something about it, especially when you write it like that, and you actually write the year and all the other information. To me, it's, I don't know, it just leaves such an impression on me. I won't keep everything, but if it's a card or if it's a postcard or anything that you're giving to me, sharing with me, and you actually date it, likely I'm keeping it. So this was May 24th, 2011. Almost 10 fucking years. All right, so I circled a bunch of poems that I really dug in here, so I'm just going to read off a couple of these. This one's called Cutting Through. Cutting through a neighbor's backyard. I hear my name being called. Pretty cool. Really cool. I mean, again, it takes you there. It's like you're like a kid. You're cutting through your neighbor's backyard. You can hear your mom or your dad calling out your name or your sibling. Let's see here. Misplaced day. A misplaced day when I can't find the words to say. I sit here with my notebook anyway and pick weeds. Ocean, I am nowhere near you. Ocean, I am nowhere near you, yet I feel your waves touch upon my shore. Hear the seagulls sound above, my care taken into your body, neither a step nor a glance away from where we are moving. Ocean, I am nowhere near you. I'm definitely, well, not nowhere, but I'm far from the ocean, especially living in New Jersey. Or I should say, especially living in New Mexico, being from New Jersey. Which, by the way, I went home last summer, and I went in the ocean for the first time in like 15 years. And just a little tip here, if you ever want to kill someone, take them to the ocean. That fucking thing kicked my ass. For one, it stripped me of my bathing suit like almost completely, and then it fucking just tossed me around. And it wasn't, I don't think, that crazy of a day for weather or the wind or anything. But yeah, you want to kill someone, take them to the ocean. All right, let's see here. Beyond the clouds. Beyond the clouds, the blue sky speaks. Hello, hello, hello. I love that. I love the repetition. I'm a big fan of that. It just drives the point home. Something you can like sing to yourself. This one's called Back Within. Back Within. Oh, I'm sorry. It's called Back Within. That's not the first line. I placed my empty coffee cup down back within. A stained black ring left dry from an evening talk that lasted till the sun reminded us what time it was. Really cool. All right, I'll read two more here. Same moth, same place on the wall. 6 days later, is he still breathing? Right before I went to visit my friend Tom here in Seattle, I had a moth problem in my apartment. Talk about a fucking nightmare. They were like all over the place. There was like a little there was like sort of like a seal on my door that wasn't in place, so a lot of moths got in. Maybe this is when I got back. I think it might have been when I got back. I forgot. It was either before I went or when I got back, but it was a fucking nightmare. Talk about, gross. Ugh, moths. There's a great Bill Hicks joke about a moth saying fuck it and he's headed towards the sun. It's pretty funny. Alright, so we'll do one more. My dog has just come over to me now. She's smelling. Hey, Lou. What a sweet girl. I love my dog. She's such a fucking gift from God. If you don't have a dog, get a dog. Go adopt one. Like, it really just increases the quality of life. Alrighty, let's find it here. Let's find one last one. Alright, so this one's called Moonless. So here goes. Moonless. Moth on my fingertip, the dead of the night, white wings quivering together. Those asleep are whispering their dreams, silence blanketing their meanings. Those awake can't sleep before the sun, their eyes a moonless sky. Constant motion without change. I sometimes find myself somewhere in between the two. I'm almost certain it's where I last saw you, patiently waiting to be set free. Pretty dope. Alright, I lied. I'm going to read one more because it's on the next page and it's really short. It's called Today. Today, while everyone was together, I chose to be alone and write this. Fuck yeah, that's so dope. Today, while everyone was together, I chose to be alone and write this. It's so cool when you can get something so positive about, loneliness or just solitude. And it doesn't have to be in a depressive way, but just that you decide to be by yourself. But then you create something in that time and you're able to share it. And here it is fucking almost 10 years later that I read that poem, and it's so great. It's so cool. To be creative, to actually spend enough time with yourself to create something and express something, it just really says a lot. You're giving yourself and others a gift that will last forever. Maybe you're just alone for a night or an afternoon or whatever the fuck it is. So again, shout out to my friend Tom Veldran, great friend of mine. I'm actually going to another great friend of mine's wedding, Jason B. and Michelle in Philadelphia, and Tom's going to take me, which is going to help me save on renting a car because I'm staying in Philly with my homie Kevin, and I ain't trying to bring a car down there and get a ticket and park that shit overnight. Fuck that. So my friend Tom's going to take me. I'm going to stay in Philly, and then I'm going to take a bus to New York, and then from there I'm going to go to Jersey, and I think I'll be in Jersey for like another week. So it'll save me some cash flow. I won't have to rent the car right away. So pretty cool. And then if you want to follow Tom, he's on Instagram. I believe it's Canvas Quest. Canvas Quest. That's where you can see all of his really dope canvases. So check him out. Shout out to my friend Tom. All right, so last segment here is we have the song of the week. So this song is by an artist named Johnnie Frierson. I always fuck up his last name. Frierson, I think it is. Frierson. Frierson, something like that. Anyway, the song is called Have You Been Good to Yourself? It's off the album Have You Been Good to Yourself? So this song I found somewhere on Spotify. I was probably listening to a playlist somewhere. And it's great. It's like a gospel, soul, blues, kind of a folk sound, very lo-fi recording. He actually made this at his home. He would go in his garage and just on his tape player record these songs. He did like seven or 8 of them, and he was actually doing it at a time. So he served in Vietnam. He dealt with some PTSD, and then he lost his son, and he like around the same time, and he would go in his garage and write these songs, and it's so like powerful and soulful, and it's so lo-fi. It's like he doesn't care on the quality. He would make these like tapes and hand them out at church and stuff, and someone actually found one of these tapes at a thrift store and then got it to the hands of this one record label who like reissues music. I think they're like called Light and Sound or some shit. Let me see if I can find it so I can tell you guys. Light in the Attic Records. And it's such a beautiful song and such a beautiful album. There's like 7 songs on there, and they're very soulful, very very gospel, but not like overdose where like you can enjoy it. Like you don't have to believe in God or anything to really connect with this music. I mean, I guess it could help, but I really just took to it, and it was something that really left an impression on me. And I was doing some research on him, finding a little bit more about him, and I found a really good kind of breakdown that I wanted to share. And forgive me, I forget where I found this, but I'm just going to read it off to you. It's one of those special albums where you feel like you're in the room with the man, almost eavesdropping on an incredibly personal moment. He's singing from the bottom of his heart and soul. Personally, it doesn't get any better than this. And I honestly, this just really, really just like spoke to how I feel about this artist and this song. The song is really cool. In fact, I'm going to read you some of the lyrics. It's almost like a how-to of like how to take care of yourself. So the song is called "Have You Been Good to Yourself?" I mean, great title, especially for a self-care True Blue podcast. So here it goes. Have you been good to yourself? Have you been getting proper rest? Have you been sleeping at least 8 hours? Have you been eating the right kind of food? Have you been getting enough exercise? Have you been living a righteous life? Fucking awesome. A lot of people, they work too hard. A lot of people depend on drugs. A lot of people, they go too far. A lot of people don't rest enough. A lot of people not eating right. A lot of people not eating right. Have you been good to yourself? Have you been living a righteous life? Have you been treating other people right? Have you been staying away from adultery? Have you been staying away from drugs? Have you been keeping your faith in God? Have you been following the 10 Commandments? A lot of people have given up. A lot of people can't stand the storm. A lot of people, they turn to drugs. A lot of people are staying drunk. A lot of people are leaving here. A lot of people need our prayer. Have you been good to yourself? Oh, have you been good? Have you been good to yourself? If you're not going to be good to yourself, then you're not going to be good to others. If you're not going to be good to yourself, then you're not going to be good to others. When you mistreat yourself, then you mistreat others. When you mistreat yourself, then you mistreat your family. When you mistreat yourself, then you mistreat your children. When you mistreat yourself, then you mistreat your children. When you mistreat yourself, then you mistreat your children. When you mistreat yourself. I mean, how simplistic, yet so beautifully written. I mean, you got to hear this. So one thing I did want to mention is I'm putting together a playlist of all these songs. Unfortunately, with copyright bullshit, I can't even play a clip of this shit. So all I'm left to do is talk about it. But I hope through my enthusiasm and through my playlist, which you can find, you can go on Spotify. My name on there is Donnie Pepperoni, Donny Pepperoni. And then you can also find it through Instagram and Twitter. I have a link tree with all of the links from where you can check out my podcast to the True Blue playlist. So check this out. I'm going to add this to it tonight. Such a great song. Something I was really excited to share with everybody. Have you been good to yourself? Fuck yeah. All right, everybody. That's it. That's session 10. We done did it. It's March. In fact, there's a couple birthdays going on. It was my homie Elvin's birthday, my homie Sean's birthday. It's on the 11th, my cousin Dominic. On the 12th, my sister Jessica. On the 14th, my sister Bree. My homie Carlos. And then on the 9th, actually something to backtrack. On the 9th, it's my homie Mario out here. Shout out to Mario. Great guy. Let me think here. The 15th is Bethany. What else? I'm gonna forget someone, so I apologize. Oh, and the 24th is my homie Tim. Shout out to my homie Tim. I'm the 28th, March 28th. It's a Saturday. I can smoke weed. It's gonna be awesome. My homie Antonio, my homie Chris. They're at the end of March, so really good shit. You gotta love fucking having a birthday far from like Christmas. March is a perfect month. March and like October. Perfect months. Anyway, that's it for the True Blue podcast. You can find me at Podcast True Blue on Twitter and Instagram. I'm signing off. You guys have an awesome motherfucking night and a great week. See you next week. Peace.